Welcome. Today I'll be showing you how to do our board replacement on a scale train's locomotive. And the first question you'd probably be asking is, why would I want to do that? Well, the problem is that if you don't want to use an ESU board, like 21 pin decoder, in the past you don't get access to all the lights, all the light functions. Now I will say that with the GP40 and possibly the GP30, and I'll explain why I think that you do get access to most of the lights. What I mean by most, for the most part, all the light functions do work for the most part. Most of them do. And I'll explain which part, but on the 40s, the number boards work, the class lights work, except for if you don't use their decoder, you're just stuck with the white. And that's just how it's all wired up and stuff. Now, the only thing that I had been having issues with my decoder was this light right here. No matter what I did, it would come on if you took the shelf and you could see, but it was very, very dim along with the class lights. So I decided to do a board replacement just to deal with it. I did with a 21 pin motherboard replacement so that I can upgrade it further down the line and I can adjust the lights. And I'm sorry for the cough, but basically, it's been said that ESU has done it so you can have access to all the lighting features. So you be able to, all the ditch lights should work and stuff. So I will, with the GP40, I will show you that and move them out of the way, and we'll move to the scale trains. Give me a sec. Okay. So put you in function A. I'll just do this. Okay. So we'll go to, you got the headlights, which are at the top right here. So the number boards light up, which is this locomotive. So this is I'm gonna move this so you get a closer look. The scale train. So the number boards on the scale trains did light up. The class lights did light up. You're stuck with the white. And I believe that's all the lighting features that. Yeah, that's all the lighting features you get on the the stock scale trains board. So I'm gonna go to the one that I changed headlight. That's weird. Yeah. That's why. I was trying to figure out, why am I having this issue? Oh, even better. So, I'm going to take that off the track. Now, as you see, it does have a keep alive that does work with it, surprisingly. I had to reconnect to the locomotive. I don't want to do that. I want to use Okay, I got control of the locomotive. So, okay. So, I have, for FX3, I put the number boards. Green class lights. For FX4, I put the reds. For 5, if you could see that. For 6, white. And I have the walkway lights and that red light set to 7, FX7 and 8. I do have that light hooked up, but I don't have a decoder that will access that. But if you're asking, can you run all the class lights? It looks very horrendous. Get a little bit of pinkish white. Yeah. But I'm whoop. I don't know why that was in reverse. But I'm gonna move him out of the way. Okay. Sorry about the movement, but okay. So, well, that's actually convenient. So, I'm going to turn. I'm going to start with the KCS unit. So, that right there is the KCS to the right. Eventually puts that right ditch light on. And then the left. Ooh. But you don't have access to the number boards that are supposed to light up. And some other lights. So the walkway lights don't come on. That's just how it's designed. You may ask, well, what about the hot wire fix to deal with that? Yes, you patched that. They basically made it where the hot wire fix does not work, and I learned that with the my KCS Gray Ghost number 2024. Yeah. And the thing is these are designed just like their other GE locomotives with ditch lights. So, yay. But it doesn't have any rear lights. So I'm just going to go ahead and light everything up on the other side. So I have all the lighting features lit up. As you see, the number boards are not on. And the rear ditch lights do not come on. I even put it reverse just so for those who, well, you didn't put it in reverse. So I'm going to go to the table and show you what I did. And I can't exactly show you how I did it itself when wired, but if you use, I'll explain further down the line when I take the shells off my GP40s. And that way you have a good idea how to do it. And I'll take you step by step how I did it, but I can't wire it because it would literally, this video would be 4 hours long if 4 to 5 hours. It's not hard to do, it's just very time consuming how I did it. So, I'll meet you at the table. Sorry, welcome back. So right now I have the table, I have the shells off of number 1776 and 1976. So, this is the whole board replacement. And this is the skill transport, and you see the capacitors right there. Now, I will definitely say that Now, I can still add a capacitor to this, and I probably will further down the road, but right now, I'm more concerned about getting all my locomotives board replaced. So, the original board would look like this. Oop. A lot of GIS. A lot of spots and stuff. So you have your left track, right track, right track, left track. So, and this would literally sit like this in a decoder, as you see. And all the wires are very, very they are heavily wired to those points with very, 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 very little slack to them. Very clean cut, as you can see. No, not a whole lot to move with. Now, what I did was this sounds insane, but when I will definitely say this, as you go, take lots of photos, and I do mean lots. That way you know where each color wire goes, so that you know kind of idea what it did. But you're going to basically unstart the whole board. And as you take those photos, you kind of get, well, this was a light. But how Scale Trains does it, all these red wires are all your, let me see if I can find it. I don't see on this one. But they were all your pluses. All the red wires went to the plus signs, except for the track rails, which are much thicker. So I will definitely say there's a size difference with the pickups. They're a lot thicker wire. About this top wire right here and these black wire, they're your walkway lights. They're like the only wire that actually has any slack to it. So when it comes down to those, I don't really touch. And I do use Teflon tape. And I do kind of have them a little bit. Because when I cut them, because I basically go all the way to the board, get rid of the wire because they're too short, and I put fresh wire. And the reason why I did that is very, very simple. Because when I did my first one, I'll just use the old wire. Well, when you have a bunch of wires that go to a bunch of stuff and you're using stuff, shrink wrap to keep them connected, you're going to have a lot of shrink wrap tubing. And the problem is a lot of the shells have, especially with the GEs. Now, there's not a whole lot, and the only thing you have right down here in the GPs, the Jeeps, is just that, which isn't actually bad. So you basically put, because you got a size where to put, and the board that I chose was pretty small, but you had to find a spot where it didn't hit the back. So if you give me a sec, I'll go grab the GE and show you like the first problem I had. Okay, so if you look at the GE, the first problem I had was this right here. Because the first thing I realized is the board had to be shifted all the way to the back, so it didn't start interfering with the fans that were in here, and I didn't want to rip into the insides. But the cool thing is if I truly desired, I could always get a red light and make this thing look like it's on fire as it goes down the rail. So there's a plus, but it's just one of those things that I had to rewire everything. I literally went back to this, got rid of all the old wiring, and I know it looks like a wire nest because I had to untape it, but I also needed to put a new board because me being the genius I am, didn't put the board on right and cracked the light piece. So I mean, I could get rid of the lights itself and be able to run just fine, but if you look at the GE, if you start from, so you had the track rail, headlight for H, N for number boards, light, positive. And I think these were like the older boards too. And I'm wondering if I pulled this off of which I probably did. This one probably came off the SD. Oh, I did, the SD40-2. So, this would be the SD40-2 board. So the GN is green, red, and that WH is white. So these are your class lights right here. And you had the positive. And one of the things I would say is as you go through, just take lots of photos so you know what color a wire did what at the time. But it doesn't, when you have this, if you already know what the color is, it makes it so much simpler. Because what all I did was, I basically, because you have the same thing on the other side. Maybe not. No, you do. I just basically rewired it and had, and if you notice, what I did was, well, with all the wireness, I don't want to undo all that because it's going to be a wireness, but I basically took the green wires, so I knew it was green. And one of the things I do recommend is when you get your wire, get as many different colors as possible because that makes it so much easier, depending on how you do it, because you can literally wire it as you go. But what I like to do is I like to take it piece by piece. So I like to, and one of the things I did is, if I can, but if you notice that I like to go through the whole thing and pull the board out, redo it, have enough wire to reach the back, and then cut it as I need. Kind of keep it clean, easier to manage, not much of a headache. And I know it's not the most prettiest thing, but it gets the job done. And I will admit, probably you don't want to have as much slack of wire as I do, but I'm just kind of, when I learned the lessons, just kind of think ahead. But something I also noticed is the fact that since I put a different board in, these don't run the exact same speed, even though the decoder's the same. These will not, until I replace the board, these will not match unless I put the same board that's in here into here. But the funny thing is, you'll notice is the fact that the reason why I said GP30, oops, this one, the GP30, let's see if I can find it, is this right here. Scale Trains, Scale GP30. This was in this locomotive. And the beauty thing about the Keep Alive, I know I'm getting off topic and I'm trying to stick to it, is I could put a soundtrack to Keep Alive, and it should fit right there, just nice and snug. Oh, well, that's okay. I was wondering why that was moving, but I kind of keep the Teflon tape to keep the tape from moving a whole lot. It makes it easier closing the shell. Which I'll probably get some electrical tape to kind of keep that kind of tape down. So I can at least put the shell back on in the meantime. But one of the things you'll notice, so if you notice here, it's a lot clean. And I have the wires long enough so I can literally put the shell back on. So it's nice and smooth. Goes up there into the back. Kind of like how this one does. I didn't mess with the walkway lights because I didn't really need to. I just worried about the front boards, the headlights, and the number boards. So, depending on, always measure the wire. You might be able to use an old wire to reach the back. That's what you need to do, is be able to reach your light, wherever you're choosing as your light. But everything is labeled. Red will always be your positive. So the benefit of that is with the board I have, if I have an envelope for it, which somewhere. If you give me a sec. Okay, so right here is the light, as you see on the board. All the positive red, all these red wires you see on here that was positive would go onto this piece right here. It's set for the track, not the track, but the track. The pickups. So track A, track B, motor. Makes it really easy. I'm using the niche trains, 2.2 K resistors. It even shows how to put a keep alive in it, if it's a 2-wire or a 3-wire. I always recommend when you want to test to see if you're doing it right, buy a motor decoder. You can at least function the lights. It's like about $50. So if you destroy it, it's no huge deal. Instead of roasting that nice pretty decoder that you put at sound decoder if you're putting in that. So yeah, that's something also to think about. But I will say, I'm not the best at it. But if you're worried about the soldering, I have a video that I posted yesterday, how I did it. And I was able to easily solder all these points right there, just using the solder I had on the wires. The video is already posted. I highly recommend, by the time you see this, it's already posted. I highly recommend you look at it, watch it, because it's full of tips. Because it literally will make this job so much easier because you're not globbing anything. And that's how I roasted the board on my doing the, because I thought I didn't put enough solder on here on my ES locomotive. I destroyed the board that way. I literally burnt it. I burnt the thing. The smell of electrical. So I went ahead and did the board replacement. Like, my first mistake was I didn't measure to see where I could put the decoder, the board. If I knew that, I would have gone back. But the problem is with all that and with all this, by rewiring the whole thing, I don't have as much wiring. I know it's a whole lot of wire, and I'll fix that further down the line. A lot of it is just I have so much wire because I want to be able to put in here. But the reason why I say different colors is you can, if you wanted to, you can literally use all the colors, the white here, so it would look pretty similar. And how I did it was, I got the envelope right here. So, like on my GP, it's the front, A1. So this is how you'd see on the decoder. A1 is your FX3, A2 is FX4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So up to A6 with soundtracks. Now, I do have that other light was on A7 I just don't have access to. Can I go back and do that? It's like, yeah, I could. But do I want to? Not really. Not a lazy. It's just the fact that if it's not broken, don't fix it. And it's not the fact I don't want to access it. It's like, I rather have the walkway lights. They're pretty. They're nice. It's nice to have. Might as well use them. But I would say get multiple wires, practice, and kind of how I do is I would literally run the wire from here when I cut my wires to get them ready. I would take the wire, kind of give it slack, kind of follow it, go through to where I need it. Then I give it a little bit more so I have a little bit of leverage on it. So I will do a demonstration of kind of how I do. Let me see if I have a wire that's... I'll use purple. So, like right here. I would literally take it like right here. I don't need to thread the whole thing through. I just kind of need a rough estimate. Practice makes perfect. And I'd probably say about right there, spitballing. I would cut it right there. Tend one end. Keep the other end undone until I need it. That's what I've done with here. So it's not a huge... I mean, it looks like a mess because I broke the board and I didn't have time to fix it. Does that make sense? So I have to go back, replace the board, all that stuff. But, so, let's see if I can get you a good look at the back of that. So right here should be an H. It's an F. I don't know why. Maybe the front headlights. I'm not quite sure. I know this video is getting long, but I'm trying to make sure that this is whatever you need is in here. And if you think that I missed something throughout any part of this, let me know. And I'll make another video to explain that part that I missed. And to keep it short so it answers your question. But this is the best way, kind of. It's a rough, really rough, how I did it. And I had to undo it to show somebody. This, I will definitely say this. When I first did this, in this one, I was very, 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 very. It was very imposing. It was very, I'm afraid to destroy this. That is good. But after I did the first one, I was like, okay, this wasn't so bad. Then I realized, oh, I messed up with that. So I was like, with this one, I decided to use a whole different style. And it made it so much less of a headache. Doing the full rewire, there's no having to connect the old wires to the new. You're just replacing the whole wire. You're going down the whole thing. It's a lot cleaner. A lot easier to manage. And if further down the line, it's like, I want to add more stuff. You can. Or something's not working. You can do that too. And if you're like, because I even did it to this. That's not the stock colors. I don't have blue. I would totally go with blue if I could. But you have your positive, your red, hot. If I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. Then I'm assuming the purple is the right ditch light. Then you got the left. So all you gotta really do is read. I will be honest. I've searched up, when I was doing this, what did what. And it doesn't really, that's the one thing I really hate was the fact that it was a lot of guessing. But these boards were pretty similar. And I take that back. My first one I practiced on was the B unit for the SD40-2. This was the board from it. That's what it was. And it was just nothing but marker lights and a headlight. And I looked at it after I rewired it. It's like, that was not bad at all. It was super easy. Then I did the GP40. Was it tough? The hardest part was just wire management. Was just making sure what wire did what. And that's why I said if you get as many different color wires. I'm using 32 gauge for my HO. I was told that wasn't large enough by another guy. But the problem that you run into is with these is the 32 gauge is thicker than what the stock wire is. So, well, who knows? But I haven't had any issues with the rewire. And I would definitely say that if you don't have a light that's not coming on, look at the wire where it went to. Always take from here. And most of these, like this and this, I was able to pop off. Which I think I just glued that back on. Wasn't a huge deal. Okay, here's a really great example. I would do this. Take it out. Look at it. Then you can put it right back in. Now some of this is glued on, so just kind of just be really gentle with it. But like with this one, it's like I can't reach it. It's like just work it a little bit, and it will come out. I'm gonna put that back down. I don't want to pull that back out. But take lots of photos when you unsolder it. Take lots of photos, which they did. Because I always guarantee you, and the one thing is if you figure out where, the best thing to do is compare what you did here to here, and match the colors to that, so that when you meet them up, you can solder with their being class lights. And as you go, I do recommend kind of putting yourself a graph so you know what's what. And you can say, okay, this, because the easiest way to figure out I'm being, sorry about that. The easiest way to determine, like, when you're figuring out what light was to what is just, it's error. If you want to only hook up the fronts and see what they did, then that way you could go to the back of it and do the same thing. When I did my SDB unit for the Burlington Northern, for the first run of skill trains that they did, the last recent one that actually came out, I picked the B unit, and I basically matched the class lights. So I put the green. I designated a color that I would recognize, so I know what color was what. And I think I went with the, actually, I'm just going to look at it. So the headlight, because they're different colors, and I didn't have every single color. So I went with the red was black wire, purple was white, green was green, red was positive, orange was headlight, and there was another light that RGS, which was red again. But I made sure to hook them up correctly, because if I didn't, no light would come on. So that's how you tell. But I basically took the locomotive kind of piece by piece almost, except for this piece. And I didn't take out the back cross lights, because most of those were already long enough. I just had to meet them up and meet them at one point through a single wire. But, I mean, I know I'm rambling on, and it might not be the best, but I know this. I'm just trying to make sure you have everything you might need. That way you're not having to ask questions, but I don't want you to be afraid to ask. But I will tell you this. It's not hard to do. It's very time consuming. Even though I knew what I was doing with this one, it still took me about 4 hours to do the whole thing. Because I already knew what I was going to do. I already measured it. And it's the same rules always apply when it's anything when you're doing. Measure twice, cut once. And I would also recommend, after you pull everything out, measure where to put the board. It will save you so much further headache. That was the biggest mistake I made. And I'm telling you why I did it, so you don't actually make that same mistake. I'm only human. I'll admit to that. I made a mistake. But I want to save you guys the headache of figuring out the hard way. And I figured if I share this, you're less likely to do that. And one of the things I thought was a little interesting when I took the shells off, one of my clippers broke. It was just odd. This was a skill strain coupler, so it's not a huge deal. I was probably eventually going to replace it, so I'm not holding the skill trains responsible for that. And if you ask that question, well, why, if you're pulling the whole board, why are you buying skill trains? Skill trains puts some pretty nice stuff out. And the thing is I'm not holding them accountable for the board, because if you watch their YouTube channel, they try to show you how to do a shortcut. It's just that the manufacturers, they have patches those shortcuts that their board manufacturer. And I'm hoping that eventually they kind of move away from that company. Not because of anything, just the fact that I find it ridiculous that you have to do a whole board replacement to access every single light or use their product. I get it as a business move, but that's just ridiculous. But I would say I just like to be able to use my own decoders, have everything onto one set, so they're not a huge difference. I go with the Blue Nami for my personal use. I would definitely say that I know some people go with ESU because, well, you can put your own sounds on it. And what I've been told is soundtracks, Tsunami 2s do the exact same thing, except they just come preloaded, but you can always erase it and preload your own files on that. But that's up to you. But I do hope this video helps you. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I want you to let me know. And if I can help you, I'll literally make a video to show you what I did. And if you really, 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 really want me to take this apart to show you how exactly I kind of did that, I will. But I will definitely tell you, I pulled this out, that out, and just used that technique of my solder I showed you how I did the other day. That will be posted the day before if you're seeing this the day of. But I do have a video of how I did it, and that way you're not touching. And if you don't watch the video, and when you tend your wire, please twist before you tens. Twist it as much as you can. Tens it, then clip the end of it. Because that will save you so much headache. Because you don't want, as you're putting one wire, and the reason why I showed that video is so you can do this. You go, literally, watch that video. It's like, okay, that's not hard. Then you just do that. I mean, you might have to, the hardest part is just holding the wire still in the spot long enough just to solder it. Just make sure you have really high quality flux. It will make a huge difference. The better the quality, the easier it will, because the flux helps the solders work better. It will solder better on here, much easier. Now, I would definitely say is test all the lights. Just test them. Now, I'm not saying take a 9-volt to it, but I will definitely say when you have your light decoder, your motor decoder, test the lights to make sure all of them are working. And as you go, you can look at the FX tray and make yourself a menu how to do it. Now with the Blue Nami, with Androids, I can already do that. This locomotive is already set, along with this one. And this one will be too. But I would definitely say that I was using the app just a second ago, and that does not show all those features quite yet. Yet is the word. I'm sure Soundtrack is working on that. And I'm very aware they probably know that is happening. But I'm very happy with my Blue Nami. For moving forward, I even thought about testing to see if I can actually speed match this with an old Ather. Put the exact same thing that's in here, board-wise, and here. Let's see if I can actually speed match it. If that's the case, that might be a huge game changer. I might just start as boards die, start putting the same board in all of them with the decoder. Because the decoder, as long as it's a Blue Nami, it won't make a difference on speed, because it's just a different sound file. But I thought that was a very interesting thing. So if Soundtrack sees this, humor me. I'm curious. If someone wants to test it, let me know. I would love to watch that video. But I mean, as I say, it's more intimidating than it looks. No, it's more intimidating than what it really is. I mean, just take your time. Take lots of photos. Label what... No, I would just say if you don't have enough time, like, if you're doing this the first time, if you don't really have a day's worth, either keep it separated, because I guarantee you it's not the fact that a whole day. It's if you're doing a whole thing, start simple. So if you have like a B unit you want to do it on that. It'll make a huge difference. Because all you're doing is just the class lights, the number boards, if there was there. And with my SD40B unit, I probably will go back and move everything over one so that the number boards will be at FX3 across the board. So if I wanted to run any locomotive, I can. I'll just set the green light as an always on. Or have it set to a certain position, less always on and middle. Or probably have it set to red always in the rear, depending on situation. But I know this is a long video, and I really hope this was useful. And if it was, please let me know. And if I missed something, please let me know so that this is, what is it? Useful to you. And if it's not, I'll literally go on to make multiple videos, step-by-step process. I'll literally walk you through what I did each step in a separate video. And actually, I might do that. It probably won't be with this one. But with this one, I'll do when I get the board. And if... if I get another board, I'll do that. But I think at this point, I do want to standardize all my boards. If that whole thing with I can match any locomotive for the most part, real easy. And that's one of the part of the reason I like Lunami. But if I can kind of speed match any locomotive with a 21-pin board from any manufacturer, that would be amazing. Because then you really be cooking. But I really do hope this video was useful. I know I've said this a lot. Comment. Let me know if I missed anything or this was extremely useful. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Enjoy the rest of your day.